We have quite many participants this time around.
Fantastic. Rhode Island. Linda's in Brookline, not far from here. Hi, Emily, and you're in Boston.
Yeah, great.
Wonderful to see you all. I'm excited about what we're making tonight. The Oat and Chia Parfait. It's one of my favorites for breakfast and actually as a dessert, as an any time of day, easy kind of treat. So I'm excited about showing you that. So shall we get started?
I think we should. Given. Perfect. You want me to kick off?
Yes, please.
Sure. Hi, everybody. This is Anya Borto. Some of you already know me. I'm a volunteer for the Sierra Club, the plant-based team. And I've been helping now Diana for, I don't know, 2 months, maybe a little bit more with facilitation of this meeting. So my main goal here is to really monitor the chat, answer some of the questions, or read them out loud to Diana if she's not able to see them. If you want to ask the questions yourself, you can do it as well. We are pretty informal and we basically take it as we go. So whatever, however you want to pose your questions, you are welcome to ask them at any point. And then you should have received the link to the Beantown Kitchen and Diana's recipes that she's going to show us. If you want to just watch it, that's perfect. Or if you want to, tag along and do your own parfait, that would be perfect as well. But as a form of introduction, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about Diana. So Diana is our wonderful vegan chef and plant-based educator in the city of Boston. She has been offering these classes to Sierra members on a monthly basis. They used to be in person before the pandemic, but now, they are virtual. They are not only limited to Sierra Club. We also welcome members of different communities. As you can see today, we have members of, national communities present. Diana has graduated from Cornell with her BS in nutritional science. As well, she holds master's degree of education from Harvard University. Her blog that I mentioned, beantownkitchen.com, has been well recognized. And Diana posts a lot of recipes there. She also posts a lot of pictures. So you are welcome to browse through it and provide some feedback. She also has an Instagram account, and you can follow her there and maybe show her pictures of your creations based on her recipes. So without further ado, Diana, if you want to start, we can start.
Okay, welcome everybody. It's wonderful to see you and have you here tonight. Anya, thank you very, very much for supporting me and the Sierra Club in this endeavor. I love doing these cooking classes for the Sierra Club. It totally makes sense. My mission aligns with the Sierra Club's mission in that a plant-based diet is one of the single most impactful things we can do for the health of the planet. So any movement that you make to adding plant-based dishes to your day, to your week, to your repertoire is a benefit to the planet. So it's something that you can do really every day that has an impact that you can do as an individual. So I really love that. So what I'm going to do, let me just share my screen and show you what we're making today. So we're making this oat and chia parfait. Here's a picture of it. As Anya said, you can find the recipe at Beantown Kitchen. My website's beantownkitchen.com, and the recipe is called Oat and Chia Parfait. So this is really quick and easy. I'm going to demo how we're going to make it. And then I'm going to talk to you about the nutrition of the recipe. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about energy efficient appliances. And I'm going to open it up to questions. So feel free, if you have a question, as Anya said, to write it in the chat, or maybe, I'm not sure how many of us there are, but there might be an opportunity also for you to unmute and ask your question. I'll give you an opportunity to do that a little bit later. So I'm just going to start out by changing over to this camera so that you can see here what I'm going to be demonstrating. For this oat and chia parfait, I'm using some rolled oats, and rolled oats, are another name for them, is old-fashioned oats. So same thing. I'm actually not going to be cooking them. I'll tell you a little bit about that later. I'm also going to be using some chia seeds. And again, I'll talk to you about the chia seeds. I've got some agave. You can use any kind of sweetener that you want. You could use maple syrup if you wanted to. If you like to use some kind of date sugar, coconut sugar, table sugar, no problem. You can also leave out the sweetener if you want. And then I've got some cinnamon, ground cinnamon, and some salt. So I'm going to combine those into this bowl here with a little bit of plant milk. So the type of plant milk, in that goes, and the spices, the type of plant milk that I'm using here is a soy milk. So it is 3/4 of a cup of the plant milk gets poured in there. So that's it. That's super duper quick and easy. And I'm just going to give this a stir. It doesn't go on the stove. It's going to go in the refrigerator, and it's just going to set. And it's going to become like a nice, something between a pudding, a parfait. It's going to kind of harden and set. One of the nice things about chia seeds is they kind of absorb the liquid, and they thicken, and they create a really nice texture. So all I did there was put everything together. Again, if you want the precise measurements, you can find them on my website. I think however you got to this class, you would have seen a link. So you can just click that link too. So that's just going to, I'm pushing down the edges so that no oat gets ignored. Let's get them all in the liquid. And then I'm just going to put that in my refrigerator for 15 minutes, and I'll talk to you more about the ingredients. So,
can you use a different type of milk in this recipe?
Yes, you can use a different type of milk. I'm just starting my timer. I'm going to come back to you here. Yes, you can use a different type of milk. Absolutely. So you could use an oat milk, you could use an almond milk, you could use a rice milk. There's so many different types of plant milks on the market. Quite frankly, you could probably use water and it would just be fine too. So yes, and then some of them have sweetener in them, some of them have vanilla. It's up to you. I happen to like my plant milks to basically be the nut or the seed or the bean and water. That's it. So I don't really like mine sweetened. I don't want it to have salt in it. I don't like, some of the plant milks have oils in them. No problem at all. Use whatever one you like. I just happen to like to make my own plant milks. And you know, in line with the Sierra Club and the message of sustainable eating, the more that we can. Now, I don't want to make this intimidating at all. I mean, I know for some of us, like plant-based eating alone is like far out there. So I'm just sharing that I did make my own soy milk this time. And even with the soy milk, there's some meal that's left over. I made some granola. Here's the granola that I made today. I made the soy milk, then I made this granola with cacao nibs and coconut flakes and some cinnamon and some oats and maple syrup and molasses, a whole variety of things. So I like to do that. Again, I love the fact when you make your own milks, you can go ahead and use the meal to make a granola. If anyone thinks that sounds like a good idea and you'd like to see a class where I either demonstrate making oat milk or almond milk or soy milk and then a granola, put that in the chat. And that's definitely something that I could add in. I never know whether that's going to be interesting to people. My husband makes his own almond milk. So one or the other of us, we've always got some kind of plant milk in the house. So yes, that's the long answer.
Perfect. We do have one question. If you use oat milk, would you have to reduce the amount of oats that you're using, or are you still going to continue with the same portions?
I would still use the same portions. So in the end, it doesn't matter if it's a soy or it's an oat or it's a rice or whatever it is, it's still the quantity of liquid and you still have the same quantity of liquid.
Perfect.
Okay.
And what equipment do you recommend for making your own plant milk?
So making your own plant milk, couple things. One, a blender, and two, some kind of nut milk or nut milk bag or cheesecloth. So once you actually make it, you're going to want to pour it through the cheesecloth, and then you're going to give it a squeeze. And you're going to get as much liquid as you can out of it. But when you're done, you're going to have this cheesecloth or nut milk bag that's got the meal left behind. And that's what I was talking about. I love to turn around and do something with it, whether it's make cookies or granola or even put it into burgers. So those are the two things that you'll want, is the blender and the and something to squeeze it through.
Mhm. And another
So,
question that came
yeah.
in, so are the almond cows worth it?
I haven't tried using an almond cow. I could imagine it probably is worth it in that it's so much less expensive to be making it yourself. I think it'll probably pay for itself. I have to say, I do use something similar called a Soya Joy, I think it's called. It's a Japanese soy milk maker. And I just put literally raw organic soybeans in it that are dry. I don't even soak them first, put them in the soy milk maker. 35 minutes later, I've got my soy milk, again, pour it through the nut milk bag. So that's something which is kind of interesting. Again, if I'm saying anything and you'd like some follow-up information, feel free to contact me via my website. There's a contact form, and I'm very happy to answer questions, send you pictures, send you links for things.
Thank you.
So great. So we talked about oats. I have to say, one of the things I love about them is they're super heart healthy. They actually have the nickname of artery scrubbers. They're definitely beneficial for reducing risk for heart disease. So love them. They're rich in dietary fiber. They're filling, they're satisfying. So I love them. The chia seeds that are in this parfait, again, also really healthy. They're really rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which is fantastic. We do not need to consume fish in order to get omega-3 fatty acids. Chia seeds are an excellent source of omega-3s, really good for our brain health, very high in protein. So great source of dietary fiber again. So I just love this dish, and I'm going to talk to you more about the nutrition and give you precise information in a few minutes, but those are some of the things that I love about the dish. So I am going to actually pop over while we're waiting for those, for the mixture to firm up. I'm going to just pop over to share my screen again and show you this. So I'm going to just talk to you about the nutritional information per serving of this Oat and Chia Parfait. So it has 14 grams of protein. And again, for people that are new to plant-based eating, it's a complete myth. It's a myth that I completely and utterly bought. Even as Anya said, I had studied nutrition as an undergrad, and I still went vegan. And I had to wrap my mind around the idea that we can get protein from plants, that we don't need to consume chicken and fish and meat to get protein. So we can get all of the protein we need from eating plants, which I think is pretty cool. So this has 14 grams of protein. Another myth that we need to consume dairy milk or cheese or yogurt or cottage cheese in order to get calcium. Plant sources can be excellent sources of calcium. Things like leafy greens and calcium set tofu and tahini and various seeds, and even this Oat and Chia Parfait, nice source of calcium. And then iron, we don't need to eat red meat in order to get iron. So plant foods can be fantastic sources of iron. Again, high in dietary fiber. 97% of the population I have read in the United States, I think where most of us are watching from, are deficient in dietary fiber. Dietary fiber is really important for our gut health. It's really important for our health and longevity. So one of the beauties of eating a plant-based diet is that we are getting a fabulous source of dietary fiber in all plants. because there is not any dietary fiber in animal foods. Dietary fiber it's the basis of plant foods, but isn't any in animal foods. This is relatively low in saturated fat, particularly as compared to if you have this for breakfast versus a cheese omelet, for instance. Like cheese is extremely high in saturated fat, not to mention things like bacon and sausages and some of the things we think about eating when we're eating the standard Western diet. And there's no cholesterol at all in this. There is no cholesterol in plants, period. So we only get cholesterol from eating animal-based foods. So this dish, it's all plants, no cholesterol, and then it's relatively low in calories, 238 calories. So when we make this, it makes 2 servings. So each serving is 238 calories. So
Sorry, talking about fiber. So the 10.5 grams, how much percentage-wise does this represent from your daily fiber, recommended dosage?
There you go. I love the question. There you go. You anticipated what I was going to show you next. So I am showing you here the recommended dietary allowance, the RDA, for women 50 plus. I kind of grabbed that number because I fall in that category. And oftentimes people that jump on this class, I think, do too. So I apologize to any males and any of you youngsters where these numbers don't exactly fit you, but they're not far off. And if you wanted to, you could definitely Google RDA. And there's a chart and you can see what your RDA requirements are. So the RDA requirements for protein are 50. And it's very easy to get there. Like, you have one parfait and you are more than a quarter of the way there, for what you would need for a day. Calcium, again, this is getting you to your calcium requirements, especially if you were to have like a nice leafy green salad, would really boost that up. Again, tofu, calcium set tofu, very high in calcium. And you can see here with the iron that this is getting you more than a third of the way there. Again, just from this one small meal in a day. So there we go. There's that number, 21 grams of dietary fiber. So this just alone it's just about half. It is half. So if you think about it, 97% of us don't get enough. You have this one parfait and you're halfway there in the day. That's really great. We don't need saturated fat, so I put NA there. We don't need cholesterol in our diet, so I put NA there. And of course, that calorie number varies depending on how active you are and any number of factors, but 1,800 to 2,200. Certainly, this isn't kind of topping it off. You can have a meal which is of the standard Western diet, and you could get yourself halfway there just from one breakfast alone. So I love the fact I'm always looking for dishes. I'm always looking for dishes that are nutrient dense. So you're getting the most nutrition you can for the lowest amount of calories. And that's really the beauty of one of these dishes. So while we are waiting, yeah, sure.
So does the nutritional info that you showed us include the almonds and fruit that you have in the picture, or this is just the base?
Oh, right. Yes, it's everything. So I included the almonds and I included the fruit. Definitely. It's all in there. Now, what I didn't actually show you in the chart are some really, really important elements of a plant-based diet, which I absolutely love. Very high in antioxidants, very high in phytonutrients. So when we are eating a plant-based diet, with all these fruits and vegetables and grains and nuts and seeds that we're eating, we're getting all sorts of vitamins and minerals and these macronutrients, which I talked to you about. And as I said, the phytonutrients and the antioxidants. So this kind of eating, especially where it's devoid of cholesterol and relatively low in saturated fat and very high in dietary fiber, all of that is associated with eating in a way that increases our health and longevity. So it's all associated with minimizing our risk for chronic disease, which is just, we're talking about eating this way because it's a boost, you know, it's sustainable, it's beneficial for the planet and the animals, but it's also beneficial to us too. So it's really a win-win-win, which is really, really awesome. So I'm just going to, as I'm waiting for just a couple more minutes for that to firm up in the fridge, I'm just going to show you this screen here. And I want to just prepare the banana. I'll show you how I like to cut the banana, which is going to go into the parfait. So I got this bowl here. So the recipe calls for half of a banana. And I love when I'm eating this dish to get like a little bite of banana in every bite. Of course, cut your banana however you like. I'm just going to show you what I like to do. I like to just cut it down this way. Can you see? Oops, I'm not in the screen.
Can you actually move there? Maybe yes, perfect.
Okay, great. So I just cut it this way. And then I turn it and I'm going to give it a cut this way. So I've given it 2 cuts and then I just slice it with my finger this way. I don't even have to take a cutting board out, which I love. And you can see what I've got is lots of nice little cuts. So that's just my sort of quick and easy way to cut a banana for something like this. And I'm just going to use half of the banana. That's what this calls for. A little bit more. Of course, use whatever fruit you want, use whatever amount of fruit you want. If it's mango season, put your mangoes in. Absolutely, this would be great with peaches and nectarines and apples. I happen to be using berries and bananas. So also you want to make some changes to the spices. If you like a little nutmeg, put it in. If you don't use salt, of course, leave the salt out. If you wanted to add some vanilla, oops, my daughter, if you wanted to add some vanilla, you could do that too. So I like to think of my recipes as sort of a template for you to have a guide how to make it and then tweak it to be your own. So that is 15 minutes. I'm just going to go get the parfait and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay.
I'm sorry, did you tell us how long did you put this stuff into the?
I put that in 15 minutes.
15 minutes, perfect. Thank you.
So this has firmed up. And depending on your plant milk, depending on your oats, like different factors, your chia, you may or may not want to make it a little bit thinner. If you wanted to, mine actually looks really good. You could always add a little bit more plant milk in. I'll just show you if I could do that and add some plant milk in. Didn't really need it, but it thinned it out. So at this point, I like to separate it into 2 different small glasses to have serving sizes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make this where I'm just going to put it in one container. So I've got this here. It's a gravy boat. It doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense, although I like to take pictures and I thought that could kind of be fun to take a picture in a gravy boat. Why not? So I'm just going to put half of the parfait at the bottom. Like that. And then I'm going to put half of the fruit mixture. So some bananas. Am I in the picture? Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Some bananas. I've got some raspberries. And these are frozen blueberries. So yes, I love to use frozen fruit. The nutrition in frozen fruit is great. It is flash frozen right after it's picked. So in some cases, sometimes it's even better nutrition than when it's picked and then it travels for I don't know how long to get to wherever you are. I like the fact that it's always on hand. I like the fact that it's less expensive than buying fresh fruit. So we've always got some raspberries in the freezer, some blueberries, some mangoes, sometimes some frozen pineapple. So I'm putting some of those blueberries on there. And then I'm going to put the next layer on top of that. Now, if you like the idea of this being warm, you most definitely could warm this up either before or after you put the berries on. In the microwave would work just fine. You could also, by the way, microwave it on the stove. If you microwaved it on the stove, I probably would add a little bit more plant milk to it, just like I showed you. And then you could heat it up on the stove. So some people are surprised, like, really, you don't have to heat up the oats? And the fact of the matter is, muesli, if you think about it, the base of muesli is oats. So when we're eating muesli cereal, we don't necessarily heat it up. We just pour our milk on it and whatever else, the seeds and the nuts, whatever else is in there. We're used to eating uncooked oats. So no problem at all with, we can digest them fine. They're really healthy for us. So no issue. And then I'm just going to top this off with some berries and some bananas. And just for kicks and giggles, when I was at the supermarket, I saw these little, someone's going to tell me what they're called because I'm completely, currants, these little currants. Wait, let's see, will it focus? There you go. These little currants. And I'm going to put some currants on because I really like the way they look. And some oats. So I forgot to put the oats in the bottom layer, but it doesn't matter. Absolutely, they can be on top and it looks super duper inviting that way. So I've got some oats.
I'm curious. So where did you find the currants? Because they have, for example, I'm from Poland, so they are very popular in Poland. You can get them everywhere, but here I always have a hard time finding them.
Yeah, I saw them at Trader Joe's a few days ago, and sometimes when I cook, I'm thinking about how it's going to look in a picture. And they're one of my favorites for pictures. So I was like, I'm going to put them on. And I like the fact that they give a nice sour bite too. Yep. Absolutely, you don't need to do this, but I like the color. And I like when I'm eating this, I get a whole variety of flavors between the sweet and the sour and the nuttiness and a little bit of saltiness and the cinnamon. So that's basically it. Let's see if it's going to focus for you.
It's very delicious.
Yeah, so that's really, really fun. And that's for two people to share right there. So there's something I want, any thoughts, questions, anything anyone wants to share?
The calories that you were showing, it's for this whole dish without sharing, right? It's not half of it, it's the entire.
No, it's for half. So
half.
It's one serving, and this is a 2-serving dish.
Okay, perfect.
Yes. So let me just come back to myself here. Okay. So here, I'll show you what it looks like this way.
Yes.
Okay. So it's one of my favorites. And this, I'm not hungry now, so I'll either wake up tomorrow morning and have this for breakfast and it's good to go. And this would keep in the fridge for like 3-4 days, no problem. Or I might like have it for a dessert or a snack tomorrow at some point. So I really love it. So one thing I want to say just on the topic of heating this up is I know that the Sierra Club really likes to promote the idea of cooking on an induction cooktop. And I didn't know until a few years ago much about an induction cooktop. I went to the Netherlands with my husband to visit my daughter, and we were staying in an apartment that had a kitchen, and I went to boil some water. And I just thought, because it's a glass top, I just thought it was one of those electric glass tops. And I put the water on it and I could not believe how quickly it cooked. And we realized it was because it was an induction cooktop. So one of the great things about an induction cooktop, it's, again, it makes sense for the Sierra Club to be promoting the idea of cooking on an induction cooktop, is it's extremely energy efficient. It heats up very quickly. And for those of us that are using gas, this is something I didn't realize until fairly recently. It's actually really releasing some pollutants, a little bit of pollutants into our atmosphere. I do have a gas stove. I'm not changing it yet. If I were to renovate my kitchen, I would put an induction cooktop in, and the prices are starting to come down, which is good. Or if I were to move, I would look for an induction cooktop. But as it stands now, I do have an induction cooktop from IKEA, because I do cooking classes offsite, or I used to prior to the pandemic. And I loved having an induction cooktop, just one plug-in that I would take with me. As a chef, as a caterer, they're extremely responsive, very, very quick. You do need to use magnetic or applying pots and pans that are magnetized. You could check by putting a magnet on it, but they're really, really fantastic. And I knew that they were faster to heat up, but I hadn't actually done a test. And as I'm someone that's really into like testing things, I decided I'd run an experiment, which I did a little bit earlier today. I got a pan and I put 2 cups of tap water in it, and I put it on the stove, my gas stove, and I heated it to boiling until it got to a rapid boil. And I measured how long it took. I poured out the water. I let the pan go back down to room temperature. I added some tap water. I put it on the induction cooktop. I did it again, and I measured how long it would take. It was 2 cups of water, by the way. It took 4.5 minutes for it to heat up on the gas stove, which I've always considered fast. Like, I don't have any complaints about how slow my gas stove is. It's great to cook on. And then I did the same thing on the induction cooktop, and it took 2 minutes. So it's super duper fast. So for those of you that are considering renovating your kitchen, you really ought to give an induction cooktop some thought, because it's fast, it's efficient, it's also highly responsive. It goes from boiling to simmer really, really quickly. So chefs actually love cooking on it. And again, it's beneficial for the environment in any number of ways, and it's more energy efficient than any other cooktop. So I just wanted to share that. And I'm wondering if anyone has any thoughts, questions, anything they want to share.
Sharon, I saw your hand before. I don't know if you still have a question, or what Diana covered, answer that. I'm not sure. If you are speaking, we cannot hear you because you are muted. Okay, so I don't know.
Okay.
There were no
All
other
right.
questions in the chat.
Okay, fantastic. So that actually brings us to the end. So I'm so happy to see you all here. And we do these monthly, and I'd love for you to join again next month. And I just want to say, we always aim for about 30 minutes. So these are really quick, just one recipe, lots of nutrition information, and I like to throw other things in. So this is kind of our format. And I want to let you know that as we transition to eating more plants in our diet, think about it as progress. This isn't progress, not perfection. This is about finding ways to maybe eat a plant-based meal every day, or maybe try being vegan for a day, or maybe give it a week, or maybe, experiment with a recipe once a week. Whatever it is, just make some kind of progress in this direction for yourself, for the planet, for the animals. And whatever you do, I am celebrating you, and I'm celebrating your success, and you should too. So I just wanted to let you know that. And everybody take care and be well, and hope to see you again next month.
Diana, I'm sorry, we still have a couple of questions that came in after.
Okay.
So Anita,
Okay.
I think she sent you maybe a question directly, but maybe you can check to see if you have that question. People were also saying that those induction stove cooks, they are very safe because you cannot burn themselves, right? That's one good thing. And one question came in: what materials are used for pots, pans that are used for induction cooktops? Are they toxin free?
Yes. So I use, for instance, this all-clad, toxin free. So they're not Teflon. They're these some kind of metal that's magnetic. And if you're interested, I can just show you what my induction cooktop looks like. It's over. Oh, I think my camera turned off. Let me just turn that on.
Okay.
Okay, let's give this I'll just show you what that looks like. So here's my pan. And there it is. Let's see. It's just this glass top right here. And again, I got that from IKEA, and that's absolutely true about not burning. It does get a little bit hot, so it actually gives me a symbol that says H on it, reminding me that it's a little bit hot. And I think some now they have little flames, like an image of a red flame, just to remind you that it could get a little hot. But absolutely, it's relatively small compared to any other cooktop.
Perfect.
Bring myself back here.
Then there is more of a comment / question. Anita mentioned that blueberries, yes, they do freeze very well, but raspberries, don't they get mushy?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so I think it
that's
goes
right.
for all the fruits that they do get a little bit softened.
Yeah, the raspberries do get mushy. That's a good point. Sometimes I turn that into like a feature. So if I'm cooking, if I'm making something like this, I actually might mush them right up and make them a bottom layer and just make it a nice mushy layer. I still think they taste great. Are they like the beautiful, like fresh raspberries? No, it's a different kind of a thing, but it's still a great thing.
Yeah, I think those were all the questions. I think I caught
fantastic.
up. So.
I didn't see the direct message. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay.
So who did you say sent me that?
Anita?
Anita. So Anita, if you want to send me a message via my website, I'm very happy to connect with you there. For some reason, I'm not seeing it in the chat now. So anyway, it's great to see you, everybody. Take care. And thanks again for joining. Bye. Anya, thank you very much for being my wonderful, wonderful co-host. So nice to see you.
It's a pleasure, always a pleasure. So thank you so much, and good night, everybody.
Okay, bye, everybody.